Hi everyone, this is episode 54 of the Quick Resume podcast. If you haven't been before, my name's Deck. Over there's Tim.
And my name's Tim. I thought we were doing a different thing. Come on.
Well,
Man.
I just like to keep you on your toes, and we do, and we call ourselves the QRP. So we've been away. I've been busy tying the knot, as they call it. So we have missed things. Things have happened in the last few weeks. For better or for worse, things have happened. And actually, the big things that have happened were the only week that we weren't here, which is unbelievable because the last couple of episodes we've done have been pretty dry. And then the 1 week that we can't, that are busy, we get big news drops. So let's start basics, Tim. Games. How's your game brain?
How's my game brain? So it's been like 2 weeks, right, since we did a QRP. Like 2 just full weeks, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what I've played, what my game brain has done in those 2 weeks. I don't think it's changed too much. I think I'm playing my normal trio of games. I've got my single player JRPG I'm playing at the moment, Tales of Arise, which is getting pretty naughty. It's pretty good. I feel like every hour or two I play that game, it just throws a new combat mechanic at me.
Is it turn based?
No, it's not turn based. No, it's quite free flowing. The combat, almost like I guess Nier Automata sort of kind of vibe. It's just it's kind of hack and slashy, but you have like your set moves that are like binded and do like specific things, and you got like team moves and like assists and stuff like that sort of thing.
Got you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's quite reminiscent of I would say something like Nier, and then maybe like a bit of like Final Fantasy VII thrown in with like the flicking to different characters and using their abilities and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really cool, man. The world building in that game is just so good. It's just phenomenal. And like it doesn't blow you away with graphics, but just the art style in that game is just so good. And a game like that running at like 60 frames, just locked, I swear it's like the smoothest game I played in years. It just feels so smooth.
Do you have a choice? Do you have like a choice to swap between modes on it?
No, I don't think so. There might be a resolution mode. I mean, if there was, I'm not going to pick it. It's not known for its graphics. No anime games are really known for their graphics. They're known for their art styles more, right? They're just how they approach their world building and character designs and stuff. So I would always, I mean, even on a game that was, it's just like you should play this with higher textures, something like Horizon Forbidden West or Gears or something like that. I would still choose frame rate over textures all the time.
That's what I mean. It's just so funny because every time I have an option, I'm like, I'm going to try it for this cinematic experience, like with the ray tracing mode, and then I do it, and then I swap over to the performance. I'm like, I'm never turning that back on again.
It's just
I always fool myself.
No. Yeah, it's just not worth it. And I mean, maybe one day the consoles that we bought that they claim to be 4K 60 will be able to play 4K 60. Maybe one day.
Just depends on the game, doesn't it? But yeah,
exactly. But yeah, man. So Tales of Arise, Apex as usual. Season 13 dropped. I don't know if we talked about Apex since the new season dropped. I don't want to go into too much detail. But yeah, essentially, new season, new character. Pretty cool, pretty fun. The shooting brain is back in gear. And I'm enjoying Apex again. And then dabbling with a bit of Halo here and there. We played that the other night, which was good fun.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's about it, to be honest. What about you?
Awesome. I just been playing. I mean, same as you. I mean, obviously we've been playing Halo and Apex together. Actually managed to get all the weeklies done this week and get a nice little Razorback skin.
Nice. That's the weekly reward, is it?
Yeah. No, they're a lot. The weeklies are a lot better now than they used to be. It was well, I was talking about this with our friend. I was like, do you remember when we called it like a toaster, but it was like the back, like
Oh
the
my
emblem
god,
background.
yeah, just the two sticks.
Yeah, it was just like two
Yeah,
sticks. It looked like a shocked face. It was like two thin circles.
yeah,
And I was like,
so
oh, maybe it
bad.
like counts your wins or something. I was like, no, it's just
It's
it's
just
just
two
two
sticks.
sticks.
It's literally like one of the worst backgrounds in the game, and you had to earn it. Like it's
Yeah,
not even like a good one. It's
no.
crazy.
Um. Anyway, so yeah, but playing that, and then I've just been playing bits and bobs of other shit. Like Besieged is something that's on Games Pass at the moment. It's like one of those physics based games where you like make like a I don't know, like a medieval vehicle, like a ram or something, and you'll have like a different objective, and you'll just press play, and then it will like roll forward to do the things. Or you can add like
Oh,
wheels to it, and like
yeah,
hinges and stuff. I've just been dipping in
yeah,
and out. I don't know why. It's just an easy thing to play while I'm like listening to a podcast or whatever. Um,
yeah.
but that's
Yeah,
kind of
those
fun.
always seem quite fun. Those sort of games. I've never actually given them a proper go.
Yeah,
But I have seen that one be played like by a streamer or by a YouTuber, and it did look pretty funny. It did
it's
look quite
really pretty for
quite
some
good.
reason. There's like nothing on screen, but for some reason it's just like really like the resolution is like 16K. I don't know why.
Really, the
It just
fuck?
feels really high. I don't know. It's like tabs. Like when I had a tabs thing a couple of weeks back or last month
Yeah,
or
you
whatever.
did. Yeah.
And I've also started Cyberpunk. I suppose that's probably it, really.
Oh yes, I saw you on that. Yeah. What made you cross the line with that then? I mean, I guess the next gen upgrade is out now, isn't it? So
Yeah. I've been thinking about um, what else I can play because everyone's just been on and off. So I could be nice to have something when people aren't on. Yeah, and I figured it's had a next gen update, so I'll give it a go. But I've been a bit mixed on it, to be honest. I've played like the first maybe like 3 hours. And it's been really slow. It's been like way slower than I thought it would be. There's just been a lot of dialogue, and the dialogue's good, great even. But it's just like some of these conversations just go on and on and on, and it's like I want to explore. I want to wander around Night City and shoot
yeah,
things and be like a pain in everyone's ass. So yeah, it's. I mean, the world is like really gorgeous. It's like dripping with atmosphere.
oh
And
nice.
it already had a couple of like minor bugs. Like sometimes like audio hasn't been playing. Like for one person in a conversation, they'll just be like speaking to themselves, but the subtitles will still come up. It's only happened once or
Okay.
twice, and it's obviously quite minor. But God, it drowns you in like uh, quite a bit of like exposition and like different mechanics. Like the
Just a
brain
lot to
dance.
take it in.
It's a lot to take in. I'm like, oh, I just wanted to like wander around.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it's I need to play more, but it kind of is making me feel like, oh, this is an effort at the moment. Like I don't know, I might have to put it down for a week or two and then try it again because I just don't know. Even though I wanted something new to play, I don't know if I wanted this. Like this is really quite an investment.
Wow. Yeah. And how many hours would you say you're in
Only
at
like
this
three
point?
hours. Only like 3 hours.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you say that, but 3 hours to just play and still feel so overwhelmed and not sure about the journey you're about to embark on. You know, normally you get overwhelmed in that first like hour or so with tutorials and exposition. Like, 3 hours is quite a while.
Well, I just feel like the game like just throws a lot of like terminology at you sometimes and doesn't explain it. Like it's like, oh, don't forget to use your cyber deck and your cyber shaft, and it's like uses all these words. I'm like, I don't know what that means, and then it will
Yeah.
like, like a box will flash up for 5 seconds, like a huge box, like while you're driving. You'll be like, oh god, what does that say? And it'll go, and you're like, I don't know
Yeah.
what any of that meant.
Oh, okay.
So that there's quite a lot of that of like, yeah, just like now an overload. It like just really throws words at you.
Hmm.
So I've been like scratching my head a few times trying to figure out what it means. It'll be like you've just picked up a brand new like like codex like finger. Like go into your menu and figure out. I'm like in my menu like where is this? So yeah, I'll just have to see how it goes. It's way more like intense than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And that's maybe not what I needed right now. So, um, but it looks very good and it sounds very good.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a so it plays at 60 now, right?
Yeah, in performance mode it does. Yeah.
Yeah, just locked at 60. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it performs absolutely fine, and the shooting it feels pretty good as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very very dense. But yeah, that's pretty much been me.
Nice.
So I mean, yeah. So I guess as we move into some of the smaller stuff that's happened over the last few weeks, some of it is like just little stuff, and other of it is like bigger stuff, but it's like unverified, and I don't like. It's pointless dedicating such a huge block to it when it could be fluff. So we'll just start
Yeah.
with the first thing because I remember we had a conversation about this, which was there was some Gotham Knights gameplay revealed, and largely the internet has been like a bit negative on it. Um, and I don't know if you've heard this, but they cancelled last gen with that gameplay announcement as well. So it's just a
Oh.
current gen game now. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So what did you think?
Um, yeah, I mean, of the gameplay itself, I was definitely in the crowd where I wasn't overwhelmingly negative about it, but I was very whelmed by it. It looked pretty average to me. Didn't look like it was bringing that much new to the table. Um, like you've seen that sort of combat in like Arkham, and like the Batman games, the Arkham series, Spider Man's, all that sort of stuff is quite a tried and true formula. Some of the animations looked a bit jank; they looked a bit not very finished.
Yeah,
He was kind of just like sucking onto enemies, like he was like on ice, like and stuff like that. It just looked a bit
Arkham's always been
odd,
like that though, hasn't it? Like you
a little
slide from enemy to enemy.
A little bit, yeah, but I think the transition they used in the Batman games, I don't think it was quite as prevalent as the gameplay that was shown there. At least from what I could tell. I mean, I've never played one of the Batman games, but I have. I watched my brother pretty much 100% play through the Arkham City series,
Mm.
um, and yeah, so it's just I don't know, man. It looks fine, and I love the whole idea of it being co-op. That's what's keeping it afloat for me. Like being able to do this sort of thing with my friends and travel
Yeah,
this city, even if it is on a fortnight glider.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the Breath of the Wild leaf. Yeah,
Yeah, um, that's what's keeping it afloat for me. And just the colors just looked a bit drab and a bit boring. It
yeah,
looked quite washed out. It didn't look like it. I know it was nighttime and all that, but I don't know. That was just my impression of it. But the whole concept of it is definitely cool to me, and it's still on my radar. I haven't dismissed it by any means. Um, but yeah, that was kind of my experience for it.
yeah. Oh, and they've got till it's like October, is it? The release for it, so they have a bit of time to polish
Yeah,
things up. But yeah, like I watched that and I came away. I watched it once and I came away pretty excited, like you said, because like in concept, like it's very exciting. Like
yeah,
in in Arkham universe, but not about Batman, like co-op, action RPG sort of thing. And then I watched it a second time and I cooled down a lot on it because yeah, like you said, you like do notice like there is a bit of jankiness to some of the animations here. I think some of it's intentional in that they want the combat to feel quite slow and weighty rather than like quick and floaty. But
yeah,
for sure there was some wonkiness to the animations. And yeah, a lot of that did need tightening up. So yeah, we'll have to see how it comes out. I wouldn't be surprised if, well, maybe I would, but I've got to imagine there is a Game Pass deal in here somewhere. I don't know what needs to
mm,
happen for it to come out, but I mean, it is Rocksteady, and who is it? Take Two that owns Rocksteady. Yeah, like Take Two are going to be looking at Rocksteady's history. Who, like, bear in mind, Rocksteady haven't put out a game since Arkham City, however long that's been. It's been like 6 years or something. Um, so
yeah,
Two Take Two have got to be looking at that and being like, Rocksteady, like we can't put their game on Games First Day One, like because
yeah.
their games always perform well historically, and just ignoring the feedback that's coming through online. So yeah, I don't know what would have to happen to make that come to life.
Yeah. It would definitely. I think it would do really well as a Games Pass game. Because I don't know how much hype is drummed up around this game. I can't. I
Not
can't
much.
imagine there's much, yeah. So like, I think something like this would only be beneficial for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
And maybe they could even just, at the point that releases, the PlayStation are going to have their subscription service out as well. So it's just like they could just do it across all platforms. It's on a subscription service for both, and the game
Well,
just goes mental, right?
I
It's
think that's very, very cute of you to assume that Sony wouldn't make something like that exclusive. Like, I think this is like, because we always like, this is the whole competition like discussion we've had before, where people are like, oh, competition's good, and it's like, oh, it depends who you're asking. Like, what are we talking about here? Because I think
yeah,
now that PlayStation has their own service, I think we're going to see PlayStation put stuff on their service for 6 months, and that'll mean it can't be on Games Pass. They'll have an
can't do it,
exclusivity
yeah.
clause, and likely vice versa. Like, they're over at Xbox, they might do the same thing. So I think to a degree, like, yes, while they might fight for bigger deals, I think it means we're going to be we're more likely to have games locked out of one another's subscription services. So, but yeah, we'll have to
Okay.
see. Like, maybe PlayStation do fight for that. But having said that, if they've got God of War Ragnarok coming out later this year, I imagine they just want that to be the vacuum at the
Yeah,
back end of the year. So we'll see.
yeah, yeah. I think so.
So that was Gotham Knight. The other thing I wanted to just touch on, I don't know if you saw, because we just briefly spoke about it, IRL, which was Marvel Snap, the new card game. I don't
Yeah,
even know the name of the studio who's made it, but all I know is that Ben Brode, one of the old lead at Hearthstone, has been working on it for all this time. Um,
mm.
but it looked very good. It looked very Hearthstone inspired in that, like the animation work and the punchiness of the cards and everything, and like it looks quite. You can look at it and make sense of what's happening, if you know what I mean. Whereas you
Yeah,
watch a Yu-Gi-Oh like phase, and you're like, like someone's doing a surgery on a board.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but
No,
yeah,
so I haven't actually watched the gameplay on this yet because we only spoke about it literally like it might have been yesterday or like the day before.
yeah,
Um,
Friday.
Friday, yeah. So I haven't got around to it, but yeah, I mean, so it's quite a not. I don't want to say simplistic, but just like a less crazy sort of card game. It's not so much in your face tech everywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's like a mobile first, casual like card experience by the looks of it. But it looked quite good. Like it did pique my interest, for sure. I don't know how they're gonna do it with considering like eventually they're going to run out of Marvel characters. Like, are they really like, I don't know, like if you think about how many cards there are in a Hearthstone universe now, there's gotta be like 1,000, right? At least.
Yeah, I
Are there
think so. Yeah,
how many superheroes are in the Marvel universe? Like 2,000? Like what?
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
there's
don't know.
tons. There's an insane amount.
So I guess I'm just interested to know like what the plan is for that game. Like, are they going to run out of superheroes?
Yeah, but is it like only superheroes or like there's going to be like buffing cards and like like their version of spells and trap cards too to like fill out all this as well. I think
Yeah, I
the heroes
suppose.
will just fill that sort of like monster role, like monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh, like the orange cards maybe that have like effects and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to get padded out with a lot of other stuff you could equip to them or equip to specific classes or something like that. Yeah, I think
I, sup-
that's probably will bulk it out a bit.
I suppose when it gets thin, they just open up the multiverse. So you just have
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Dark Captain America,
Zombie Captain America. Yeah.
gluttonous Captain America. He's just really fat.
Lives in Texas, just retired out to Texas.
Yeah, barbecue Captain America.
Oh god.
Yeah, so that's Marvel Snap. So this was I haven't made this into a full news story, but I have seen a couple of like insider. Well, I say insider, like leakers, rumor mongers, web crawlers, etc. People be in like somewhat of an agreement that there's a Gears collection happening, like in the same vein of Master Chief Collection, and supposedly it's going to get announced at the showcase in June.
Hmm.
So I guess my sort of question would be, like, what would be your temperature on a Gears collection? You're like 1 to 3. Like, let's say it's remade. I mean, we don't know that we had this conversation. We don't know the caliber of the remake, but yeah, what's your? feeling on it?
Um, I'd be pretty up for it, to be honest. I mean, the Gears One remaster got huge success, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Um, like I think that revitalized the series loads, and like people were loving going back to the classic Gears multiplayer experience over Gears 2 and 3.
Hmm.
What was it called? It was called
Ultimate Edition.
Gears Ultimate Edition. That was it. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of went down a treat. So I think that just goes to show that everyone is kind of up for revisiting both the story and the multiplayer aspects of these things.
Yeah.
Um, I'd be totally up for it. It's been such a long time since I played the Gears campaigns.
Yeah.
I'd love to play them again at 4K 60 or something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool. Plus,
Yeah.
they're right up our alley. We play them co-op, and they're great fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'd be interested to see what they do with it. Like, if this is the coalition or if they outsourced it, because we know the coalition is working on a smaller project, which is supposedly a new IP that they're sort of looking at to maybe release before Gear 6. So I'd just be interested, like, is this a full on remaster or remake, like in Unreal Engine 5 or something? Because something like that could be like a real tech sort of preview or opportunity for the team at the coalition to like fiddle around with the tech, a bit more in the Gears universe for Unreal Engine 5, and it would
yeah,
be, I think it would go a long, well, maybe not go a long way, but it would help obviously the dry period that is now the back end of 2022 for Xbox, which we'll come back around to, especially if this game, like if this trilogy looks like very, very good, like top of the industry level good. So yeah, I'm the same as you. I'd actually be down. I know a lot of people wouldn't care because it's like remasters or whatever, but
yeah,
I haven't played these games in like a decade. Like, I'd actually kind of be
yeah.
down to just run through them. Um, yeah,
Yeah, me too. Yeah, they were like a big part of like my single player like experience growing up and stuff like
yeah,
that. I love the Gears campaigns. Like I couldn't wait for a Gears game to come out and play them. It was good storytelling. It was good shooting mechanics. It was everything wrapped into one. And yeah, I
yeah,
haven't visited that in a long time, so I'd be totally up for that.
definitely. And more than anything else, it might give them the opportunity to like just have a centralized kind of multiplayer offering. Kind of like how Master Chief Collection did with their matchmaking. Um, pool, and maybe they could just bring in the maps from 4 and 5 into the collection, and that way the legacy or like classic Gears players can just go to the Gears collection. And what we saw, I think a lot of the idea, well, one of the ideas with Master Chief Collection is that that's there for legacy gamers. Now we can move forward and make like new multiplayer experiences, like went from 343, that is, whether that was 4 or 5 and now Infinite.
Mm.
Even though Infinite was obviously a bit of a return to classic, but to me, if it's true, it does signal off a little bit that the coalition is looking to evolve Gears a little bit for 6, which they do desperately need to do. But to
Yeah,
have that kind of classic collection right there on the single player and the multiplayer side, I think it gives a
yeah,
good distance to do that.
yeah, exactly. And it kind of I don't want to say it gives them a license to try something new, but it itches their audience. They're just like, oh no, keep it the same. We like it
I
like
need
that. It's
some
just
wall
like, but
bounce.
yeah, exactly. It's just like you can have that, but we're also going to make Gears 6 a bit different. And if you don't like
Yeah,
Gears 6, you still have that, sort of thing.
exactly.
It kind of gives them a little bit of a pass to kind of try something new, which
Yeah,
we're both totally up for. Like I hate it when developers just get bottlenecked into doing the same fucking formula every time. It's just like, no, you can try
because
something
of
new.
because of the
Yeah,
legacy community, like that's it.
exactly. Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so I'm kind of down for that sort of announcement. I think it would generate like a fair bit of excitement, because obviously, Gears is best known for 1 to 3, and a lot of people I think would be interested in that, especially as a Games Pass offering.
yeah. No one remembers Gears Judgment, is it? The one where you play as Baird?
Oh
Like
yeah,
what?
Gears
I don't think
Judgment.
I
Let's go.
don't think I even completed that game. I'm going to be honest. And Baird was one of my favorite characters in the Gears
Yeah,
setting. The game just didn't hit. I don't know.
no.
It's kind of weird.
I mean, it didn't even review that badly, did it? It's
No, it didn't.
just a
No.
bit. Bleh. It came
Yeah,
after
it's
3,
just
right?
weird. It did, yeah. Yeah, it was yeah, it was after 3. It's
Bit
just
of a
one of those
prequel.
things where like it just kind of it just feels like a spin-off, and I think in people's heads, it just doesn't sell as well. Like, I don't know, people just staple it as like a spin-off, so it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of weird.
But I think the same was like with like Halo ODST. Like everyone remembers that very, very
Oh,
fondly, but it didn't sell as well
oh
as
my
like
god.
mainline Halos. You know,
It'd be interesting to know. Actually, I think ODST was a bit of a banger.
it was a critical banger, but
No,
it
I mean even like selling wise, I think it was a bit. I think it was a bit of a banger.
nah,
It'd be
I
interesting
doubt.
to know the numbers behind that.
I doubt it got even like 50 or 60% what Halo 3 got.
Oh, Halo 3, yeah, but I mean, like if maybe like Reach or like 4 or something like that. If you compare the sales stats, I know they came after it, but yeah, I
Big
mean,
doubt.
nothing's really sold as well as Halo 3. If you were to compare it like that,
Nothing at all. Not
literally,
even chips.
pretty much, yeah, like genuinely, you can
Sandwiches. Not as good
compare
as Halo
any
3.
meal deals. Nah, we all know how big meal deals are.
Yeah, they're huge.
Okay, before you, I've been kind of delaying this. Before you get into the next topic, feel free to just say it and talk about it. I'm going
Okay.
to run into the other room and I'm going to go get my charger because my battery is depleting.
Do
So
it, do
I'll
it,
be
do it.
back in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, okay. So, I guess for the last item on the honourable mentions list today is it's just capping off the Halo show. The ninth episode aired last week, and I finally got around to catching up. So that's all done and dusted now, and so people are like putting up their sort of season one reviews. You know how they're feeling about it out in its entirety. And I'd be interested if any viewers out there have oh, this cough. If any listeners have watched the series, so you should definitely let us know in the comments. But the last episode was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. It was good, but it's pretty interesting. I'm just talking about the shows that the Halo shows ended, Tim, which we spoke about.
Oh, okay.
Off it.
Yes.
So the last episode was it was good overall, but it like did some very interesting things with the story.
Did it, without any spoilers, did they leave it open? Are they going to continue with a season 2 or is this a one off?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, season 2 has already been
Oh, it's already
renewed.
been announced, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It was
so that's
wondering.
definitely happening. But it was just the final decision that the plot takes is it's very peculiar. It's like it's not bad by any means. It's just very peculiar. Like I kind of liked it, and it just depends where it ends up going. And you might have seen, Tim, like a lot of people, like websites and stuff, have started putting up reviews for their season one, and a lot of people have like kind of settled on a bit more of an even keel. I think there is like the Halo community out there, like some of the comments I've seen about the show, like actually I'm worried about your mental health. Like some people are like, I started watching up to episode 2, but I physically couldn't go on. I was shaking with too much rage. And it's like, are you okay? Like, is everything
Yeah.
okay at home, bud? Like
Yeah.
nothing should be making you that angry.
Yeah, there's something else here. It can't. Halo can't make you that angry.
Yeah. So yeah, and but my god, like one of the action sequences in that final episode was spectacular. In fact, the action generally throughout the whole show was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I said there was a lot, like, because I think I'd probably give the overall series one like a 7. Like it's far from perfect. It's definitely not great. It's good, I think.
Mm.
But you really have to just go into it detached. Like, this isn't game Halo. Like, just go into
Yes.
it like the fundamental pieces are there. Like the chessboard characters, there's a Cortana, there's a Halsey, there's a Chief. But everything other than that, it's a different timeline. Like, so stuff happens very differently. Stuff unfolds not in the way that you think it will. Because I think a lot of people are like grabbing onto like mainline events in the
Mhm.
games, and they're trying to reverse backwards in their heads to figure out how they get there. Do you know what I mean? So they're like, oh, the fall of Reach, how's that going to happen? And they're like, oh god, that's going to
Yeah.
be so stupid if the X and Y means the fall of Reach happens. It's like, you're trying to work backwards from where the game's got you instead of just kind of like going with the show.
Yeah, yeah,
It almost feels like a slightly different universe. Like there is a Halo ring, but and there is Covenant, but other than that, everything is wildly different.
Mhm.
And I said this to you as well. Like even Chief as a character is different from Game Chief,
yeah,
and some of that is like written, but most of that comes from plot points in the show. Like a lot of the like in show logic very much makes sense. And I see a lot of people like taking a certain slice of a certain episode and being like, Chief would never do this. But it's like firstly, can we still not get over
yeah,
the fact this is a different Chief? But secondly, like when the things that happened in episode 1, 2, and 3, like you know, they play a role in this, and it's just like nobody seems to. A lot of people don't seem to want to do that maths. It's just like, nope, it not like game Halo. It bad. It
yeah.
it
Well,
it TV Halo.
yeah. I mean, game Halo, game Chief for a very long time didn't say a single word, so he'd make a really shit TV character. Like, I
Well, that's
think,
the argument.
I think you can just, I think you just like you said, you just need to separate the two ones and sort of see them as two different cheese, two different universes almost, and just let the show do its thing. Right, a show can never follow the same formula as a game. It's a different kind of media. It just wouldn't work. So yeah, I completely
Yeah,
agree.
exactly. So yeah, if anybody's out, if anybody does have some time to burn and wants to kind of watch like a new entry, or maybe hasn't like played Halo that much, like I would recommend it. It's not going to blow your mind, but it is fun, and it is fun to see like this kind of stuff brought to life. And like I said, some of the action scenes actually kind of do slap. So and I also don't hear anybody talking about, because they don't lean into like the game music as maybe as much as they should. Like I'm kind of in agreement with that they could use that music a bit more. But the show's actual like OT, like this original theme, is
Mm.
actually pretty good. But because it's not like Halo one, nobody like speaks about it. Like I think the music's actually pretty good in the show. But anyway,
Oh, okay. So they didn't get like the licensed official Halo music, did they?
they do like there are some like notes here and there which like definitely like in the intro you hear the choir like
Yeah.
once, but then it spins off into its own like score. And at
Okay.
like 2 or 3 points in the show, they use like different sound cues from the games. Like they're very selective of when they use it. They don't just play it, the duh, 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 duh. So that does not happen like every episode. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen at all actually. But there are different like songs that pick up that you will recognize every now and then.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
Okay, let's get into the main stories. I'm going through this chronologically, so I know you hear. Well, you're probably not, because you probably heard everybody talk about Starfield and Redfall be delayed, but we will get there. But I'm just going through because I've been making these notes for the last few weeks. So we'll start off with some boy, and this is really weird. So this is coming from some guy called Joey McDermott, and that sounds like a fake name on
It
Twitter.
does.
But the guy runs like a news website. It's like not very big, but they've said they're not sure what order they come in. But Xbox and Bethesda has multiple Disney licensed projects in the works. Now, I wouldn't have bothered bringing this up or speaking about this, but they were asked if they have a source, and they said, for what it's worth, one of their sources is the same one that leaked the Bethesda Microsoft roundtable a full month before anybody mentioned it. Um, like they got the
Okay.
name right, they got the date estimate right. So if we're to trust Joey McDermott's source, then it's to be like we could believe that Xbox Bethesda has multiple Disney licensed projects in the works, and some of that is lining up with what we've heard. Like obviously we know, um, what's it? We spoke about Roundhouse working on something last in one of our last few episodes, and I was going to say Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones is Disney.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, so he knows those things are happening. So and they're like Sea of Thieves with Pirates of the
Pirates.
Caribbean. So we know that like they are having conversations, but I'd be interested to see how this kind of works out, because obviously Sony seem to have a big stranglehold, or at least let some leverage or some ongoing deal with Disney about some games with Spider-Man and Wolverine. Is there a
Yeah.
particular character that you'd like, a particular Disney character? that you'd like to see?
Oh God, I mean, there's so many. If you want to like put into account like Marvel and everything like that,
Moana.
um, Moana, yeah.
Moana.
No, I mean, I'd like to see some more stuff done with Star Wars, like the whole speculation on like a Mandalorian game when we were talking about it and what it could be, like that was really cool.
That's more like LucasArt, though.
But it's owned by Disney, isn't it? Star
I don't
Wars.
think so.
Star Wars owns Disney, right?
Star Wars owns Disney. Let's
Disney
go.
owns Star Wars.
A typo in the paperwork, I see.
Nice. Fucking Yoda gone. Yoda the lawyer. No, Disney does own Star Wars, I think.
I don't think so, because I remember us talking about there being like Xbox looking at LucasArts stuff and Sony looking at Disney stuff like a year ago. I know a lot of Star Wars stuff is on Disney Plus,
Yeah,
but
Disney acquisition of Lucasfilm. Yeah, they do. They own them. Star
that's
Wars
the thing,
is owned
yeah.
by Disney. Yeah,
Disney isn't owned by Star Wars.
Yeah, sorry, easy mistake. They're both giants in the industry. No. Disney does own Star Wars. Yeah, because I was about to say, like, there's so many like attractions and like all the Disneyland stuff that's just Star Wars everywhere now and stuff like that. Yeah, so they do. Yeah, so Mandalorian is my answer, and now I feel less stupid as well. So I'm glad I googled it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I that would be a good one. I'd be
War Mandalorian.
The Coalition. Yeah, I know. It'd be perfect.
Coalition style. Yeah, that'd be fucking sick.
I would kind of like a Daredevil game. I think a Daredevil could make for a good game as well.
Yeah, it could be quite interesting how they do all like the combat and stuff. You could do like sonar, like pulses for like, it's like seeing your enemies and stuff like that. But then with the whole game just be done in sonar because technically he's blind, right? You're playing Daredevil.
Yeah, you've just got to punch yourself in the eye before you play. You've got to be blind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We recommend you play this game blindfolded.
I think it would just be a cool opportunity, I think, to really make use of some of that, like, you know, the next gen audio that a lot of the, I think, publishers have been talking about, you know, with the surround sound and everything. If you have like parts of the game where there's less visual information, but you have to rely on like positioning, like that one level in Hellblade. Yeah. So not much else to sort of like report about that. I just thought it was worth bringing up because we're watching you, Joey McDermott. If nothing happens, if I don't see anything in June, I'm coming back to you and your source, your so-called
your
source.
real name.
Yeah. All right. Next up, in a system update, noise suppression is being worked on. A new feature which will process your microphone input through a noise suppression step to help produce cleaner audio in your party chat session. Setting will be enabled by default, but can be toggled off from the drop-downs menu. Excellent.
Finally, your screams of anguish will be suppressed now.
Nobody will ever suppress my screams of anguish, but they'll try, I'm sure. There's been a lot of like really nice like software additions. They've rolled out over like very slowly over like the last like year, but the last one I remember is the volume sliders.
Oh yes, yeah, great adjustment.
Individual volume sliders in the party, yeah. So I like this stuff. I like this software level system changes, and I hope we get more.
Yeah, it's cool, definitely.
And because this came from Idle Sloth as well, who does like loads of Xbox reporting on Twitter, but they said, I just tested this out with a friend and they're really impressed. I played some loud music on my phone about 2 feet away from the mic and they couldn't hear it. So sounds pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, nice.
While we're on the topic of kind of like software side, I'm going to scroll down the notes a little bit because there was a leak of an upcoming unnamed project called the Xbox Dynamic Background Editor. So, you know, if you haven't noticed already, we have a bunch of Xbox Dynamic backgrounds now. Well, not a bunch, but, you know, a handful. There's a couple of Halo ones. There's a Wasteland one, a Grounded one. I can't remember others, but there are others. Anyway, it leaked that there was like kind of an editor where with like just like a video editor with like soundtracks and with video tracks and stuff, and people were like, "This is weird. Like, are we going to get an ability to make our own dynamic backgrounds?" And I remember being like, I was like, "There's no way. That's weird. Like, that's so weird. There's not a chance." Anyway, so a couple of days passed, and Tom Warren came out and said, "I'm hearing this tool is likely only for game developers rather than consumers. Either way, it seems we'll see more Xbox dynamic backgrounds soon." So essentially, the takeaway here is that Xbox are making a easy to use tool for developers to say, "Yep, here you go make a nice background," which is awesome.
Yeah. I love me a dynamic background. Yeah, they're just awesome.
Need more of them. For all my favorite games, actually, if I could get one for like Outer Wilds, that would be
Bug
banging.
snacks.
Bug snacks. Give me a talking strawberry on my background.
Yeah, that's all I want.
All right, let's move on to the big beans. So
the big beans.
You guys have obviously already discussed this. Well, you probably have, unless you're saving this news for us, in which case that's pretty amazing, but you probably haven't. So that's fine. Starfield obviously got delayed. Redfall. I'm not the only person who keeps doing that. I keep listening to podcasts and everybody keeps doing that. And I was like, Chris Redfield. And like, it gets less funny each time. So, yeah, this happened, by the way. This news came out about 12 hours before I got married. Like, happened the day before I was having a sandwich. I was like, I just like panting at my phone. Like, I can't believe it.
Everyone just thinks you're getting like fucking cold feet for the wedding. It's just like, no, Starfield got cancelled.
Worse.
Yeah, it's way worse.
So this happened. You don't need me to read the blog from them, but they essentially said they need more time to polish and finish up. Jason Schreier commented on this by saying, "Last spring before E3, I spoke to some folks on Starfield who were extremely worried about committing to an 11/11/22 date based on the progress they'd made so far. Next Cyberpunk was the term floated. Good on Bethesda for delaying even after announcing that specific date." So, why? What? Like, I guess Todd just loves that date and finds that date very sexy. But it's so...
Yeah.
I could not have ever predicted that Starfield would have got delayed.
No, yeah. I was completely in the same boat as you. Like, we were discussing this off cam. Obviously about another game. We won't spoil it. But yeah, like there were some others we could see delays for, but Starfield absolutely not. Like that genuinely shocked me. Like they committed so early to this. Like the date like had meaning behind it and everything. Because wasn't that like the same day like Skyrim or something?
Well, that's right. Yeah, 11/11/11 was Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it was just kind of crazy that ended up happening after they committed so early to it. It must have been a very tough decision, and they obviously were backed into a corner in terms of the development. So.
Yeah, and it's weird because like we have some friends who like don't really follow this stuff, and they did catch wind of the news, and one of them was like, and he doesn't have the best take, so maybe I am generalizing, but like the point why I'm bringing it up is because it makes me curious about what the general public think. But he was like, "Oh well, I'm not really surprised because we hadn't seen anything from any of them yet," and I was like, "Well, that's what Bethesda does, though. Like they don't show anything, and then they do a dump like 3 months before the game comes out.
Yeah,
that's what Bethesda does. It's what they're known for doing. Like Fallout 4 was infamous for that. So maybe like this is a bigger deal in more hardcore circles than like the casual circle from like a Bethesda standpoint. But the problem is from the Xbox standpoint, because of course we've been saying for like 6 months now, "Oh, this is a dry year. We'll just have to wait till the end of the year." And now to get to like May and June and be like, just kidding, by the way, no, none of these are coming out. Like Xbox has nothing this year, and that is like it wouldn't be as bad if there was something earlier. But the fact that the whole community has essentially been saying, "Oh, it's a dry year, but it's okay. The big hitters will come at the end, or the big hitter
Yeah,
single." That's still not amazing, but Starfield is a big deal. For that to now be taken out is like, oof, that, and there
yeah.
has like the community has been pretty angry, Timothy.
Oh, I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm. It's a weird feeling because I am a little bit angry, but then I am very much in that boat where I understand these things happen, and I understand development is a very complicated process, and I just want the game to be the best it can be, right? So if it needs to be delayed, it needs to be delayed. I'm very much in that boat. But then, like you said, like I've just been sucking it up like all year, and then I needed to still suck it up for another 3-4 months, and then they just sucker punched me out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah,
It did feel kind of bad, because essentially there's just not really anything. There's not really anything to look forward to before the end of this year, at least exclusive. Like, sure, we've got stuff coming out this year, but in terms of exclusivity, there really is nothing.
yeah. And I know there's some smaller stuff, but like literally the only thing that's coming to mind that like Xbox has some exclusivity deal with is Warhammer Darktide, which and maybe
Yes.
Scorn. Like I am like looking forward to them, but like let's not pretend that's gonna be on the same level as Redfall
Scorn
or
is
Starfield.
the big hitter. Yeah,
Let's
absolutely,
go.
mate.
Um,
Scorn, mate. Scorn's going to blow my mind.
it's
No,
gonna,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm being harsh. Scorn has the potential to be quite cool. But yeah, absolutely, they're just not on the same level. Like they're just, it's not even close.
And I think that's what like a lot has got a lot of Xbox fans kind of pissed off. Like obviously, yeah, for reasons we've discussed, I think that there's fair reason to be feeling upset. But it's more that this feeling of waiting for Xbox. I know Xbox had like a fantastic year last year, but I think everyone was kind of hoping that we'd kind of broken through that. And like everybody was on their last straw with this dry year. Like, okay, you had a great year last year. Fine, we'll wait this year because Starfield is going to be probably pretty good. Like, we'll wait for it, and then next year things will start like re-rolling again. But like taking that band-aid off for this year, I think a lot of people are just finally like lost their patience. Where it's like we've been waiting years and years. Like, why are we not at this steady cadence of games yet? Why was there not like a plan B? You know,
Yeah,
um, realistically, it's probably because COVID still, like straight up, games are still like jet lagged from COVID. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I can't blame people for being upset with Xbox's output, especially
yeah.
this year.
I'm a little bit salty. I feel like I bought this console, and these are the games that I bought it for, and now I'm just waiting and waiting, and just kind of going through the motions. And I've been a little bit disappointed by even some of the stuff that has released. Like as great as Halo Infinite is, it doesn't have the legs.
It hasn't been supported yet as well. Yeah,
Exactly. So it's just like there hasn't really been too much overwhelming positivity coming from Xbox in a long time.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's a bit of a tough blow, that one, but Starfield's a big deal, so hopefully it'll come out in a better state as a result of this. So
Well, that's the thing as well that I keep saying. Like, do you know what would have been worse than a delay? Than it finally coming out and it being like
the next
broken and not
Cyberpunk.
working. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that'd have been even worse. Like that would have
exactly.
that would have put a real like bullet in not just Bethesda, who people are like currently like low on trust on, like after
Yeah.
Fallout 76 and Wolfenstein Youngblood. I know like some recent things like obviously Deathloop has been big, but that's Arcane, and most people know that like feel that Arcane is like a separate entity in terms of the quality of their output.
Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo was like kind of like mid, so like
Mm.
they really need to have some secure like critical successes to get back in people's good books. And if Starfield, like the new IP, the new Bethesda game, probably for the next like no Bethesda game is going to generate this much excitement and hype until Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
So for the next like 5, 6, 7 years, this is going to be the one that like turns public perception. So like this needs to hit. So it needed to be the decision made. But yeah, can't deny that it hurts, that it stings, and it stings for Xbox, who like again. Unless they're holding on to cheeky stuff for the show, like we said, whether it's a Gears collection, if there is a Forza coming this year as well, or anything else, but they would have spoke about something by now if there was something really big.
Yeah, it just makes you think like what the Xbox Bethesda showcase is going to be. I mean, there's still no reason why we won't see Starfield stuff and
We will.
Redfall stuff and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
They said that there's going to be a gameplay shown soon on the delay blog. That's what it said. Gameplay for both of them soon. So
yeah. So there'll still be hopefully something. There'll be stuff there that can still drum up some hype and stuff like that. We'll still get to see those games. We're just not getting them this year.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and I guess it does raise the question a little bit, like, would Bethesda have even been able to delay these games if they hadn't been acquired by Xbox now? Like, we've seen this happen before. Like, Psychonauts 2 is like the main example that Double Fine got acquired. Xbox just tossed money at them, and Double Fine, okay, well, like, okay, fine, we're going to wait an extra year or two and just like really polish this up and make this good to go. Like they, infamously they added in like bosses to that game. That game didn't have bosses before. So it makes me think, like, I wonder if this is one of those first things that we're seeing, which nobody's talking about, by the way, the first bits of like financial security we're seeing from Bethesda now being under Xbox.
Okay, yeah, that's quite an interesting take on it. So you're basically saying that like maybe if they weren't under that Xbox umbrella, they might have pushed it out the doors, like potentially a little bit less polished, a little bit, not finished, but because they have that safety net and extra funding of Xbox to really just take it to new heights in terms of polish, and Xbox will still market it as well. They're able to take that option. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I'm sure that is actually quite a big reason maybe why they did do it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think so. I mean, because even if you look back at Bethesda's history, they generally don't delay stuff. Like, obviously, like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo has seen delays because COVID things, but like in generally Bethesda's history, they just don't delay stuff. Like, from what I could tell, the last time they've actually delayed something was like way back at Oblivion. Like, Oblivion was delayed a little bit. But it's just quite rare for that studio. And it's been known that they were struggling. It's part of the reason they sold, because Bethesda was struggling a little bit, and that there were conversations about like studios being closed, like if they weren't hitting financial targets. Like, legitimately, Arcane could have been on the chopping block if they hadn't been bought. Like, and especially with this happening, like if they needed to delay or they pushed out a mediocre game, that could be all it takes for one of these studios to get axed, which would be obviously a damn shame. So, there are silver linings here. Is really my point.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it does add pressure for the showcase, to a degree, because I think not just for those games, like, because we'll see those games, and I'm sure what we see will be exciting, which is great. But I think they need to now get people excited and galvanized for this year, for like whether there's something this year or not, they need to be like, wow, look at all of this incredible gameplay starting in 2023. Even though people will be fed up of hearing that waiting line, at least people can like visually see like what things are there that look fantastic. So
yeah, for sure. They still need to sell us on the idea of staying with Xbox and what's coming in early 2023. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, we've known for a while that like 2023 was meant to be the start when the full cylinders are spinning, was meant to be 2023, but that's not an excuse for this year really being as dry as it is. We'll have to do it as we get close to the show. We'll do like a whole like predictions segment and everything where we can go through all the studios and stuff. But I think it is easy to forget how much stuff Xbox has in the oven, which is why it makes it even more baffling that things haven't lined up for a Plan B this year. But maybe they have. Maybe we're being dramatic, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So my final point on this before we closed out was that I was kind of like I'm kind of low key. Well, one of the other things I'm like kind of glad about is that it moves out of Elden Ring range because Elden Ring is going to win Game of the Year, and obviously
Yes.
God of War is coming up this year. I think those games fare better chances of winning Game of the Year than Starfield does. So
Mm.
it's out of its range, but I suppose the downfall is that Breath of the Wild 2 is probably next year. So I just can't see any scenario where Starfield wins Game of the Year because it's like the
Yeah.
competition is it's stupid.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always going to be up against some real front runners, whatever year you release it in. Or yeah, so. But I agree. I think it's pretty much Elden Ring's got a shoe in for Game of the Year this year.
Yeah,
Even if Ragnarok fucking slaps, dude. Like I still think it's just Elden Ring, right? I just can't see it not being Elden Ring. Um,
yeah,
and then yeah, how Breath of the Wild 2, it's tough. You know, I mean, Breath of
yeah,
the Wild was the best video game on the planet, essentially, aside from Elden Ring now, in terms of Metacritic and OpenCritic and all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah.
you know, it's tough.
So that's winning. That's winning before it's even come out.
Yeah.
So
Plus Nintendo. Everyone loves
yeah,
Nintendo.
exactly. Actually, there
Zelda.
was like a really weird. I don't have it on the notes, but there was like a little article today about Sony paying for reviews. Like that sounds like a really fanboy thing to
What?
say. Yeah, they're getting
Yeah.
fined, but I think this was just for like some of their movies. So obviously, we don't know if this applies to the games or not. I don't know if it's been investigated or if it has or it hasn't. You know, obviously, it's a different set of people, but it was a really weird story to wake up to. Like, I didn't even see the story. I just saw like Xbox like fanboys like just screenshotting stuff and being like like not even like no context, just turning into Goofy.
So like movies and stuff, so like Uncharted and all that sort of stuff had
Yeah,
like
apparently
potential paid
they've
reviews.
been
Oh,
yeah
okay.
fabricating reviews and paying for reviews as well, like making like astroturfing them, like making them up. Like
Yeah. Oh
um
wow, interesting.
and while we're on the Sony bad train, and this was kind of weird because this is so weird. So this happened on the same day as that Starfield and Redfall got delayed, or the next day or something, and it like some of the staff at Sony or PlayStation got an email from the boss Jim Ryan, like a long email asking everybody to respect differences of opinion on abortion rights. Um, and then he wrote like after that, it was like, oh yeah, everyone, we need to respect each other's differences of opinion about abortion rights, which is like, by the way, pretty easy to say when you don't have a uterus, but you know, fine, whatever. But then he also wrote 5 paragraphs about his 2 cats' birthdays, their habits, and his desire to get a dog. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I like dogs because they know their place."
Yo, kind of a
What
red
the
flag.
fuck?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
that's a bit of a red flag, isn't it? Was he
What are
just like,
you
yeah, I wish, I wish my staff could be more like dogs.
on about?
Yeah,
It's just such a like weird thing to like. All Jim had to do was not say anything that day, and all the
yeah,
attention would have been on Xbox for delaying the games, having a dry 22. But Jim piped up, and then that became like the new outrage. But it was such a weird thing to read. It's like, what's he on about? Firstly, the whole abortion thing, like, not in good taste, and then secondly, you like dogs because they know their did you think this would like lighten the mood
You
like
literally could have said anything. You
yeah
literally could be like, because they're cute.
yeah
I like their
yeah
tails. Their ears are fluffy. You could have said anything,
there are
dude.
so many redeemable qualities about dogs that aren't that they're subservient to humans.
Exactly. Fucking hell, man. This guy's weird as hell.
He's such a weirdo, he really is. And it's even worse because you know I keep telling you on my notes everything's like inverted. Like I don't know why everything is inverted. And that picture of him, he looks like a ghoul out of Fallout. Like he straight looks like a ghoul.
Which one? Is it on the notes, is it?
Yeah, just the one where he's got the PS4 branding behind him, and it's on like the tweet from Jason Schreier.
Oh, let me have a look for it. I'll have a look.
I'm sure he just looks like a normal guy, but in the inverted, it doesn't look right. He looks like he's had radiation poisoning.
Oh yeah, he kind of looks like a super mutant. Trying to pull that. Oh god.
We're making fun of how people look. Okay, right. Let's.
God, we're gonna get fucking cancelled.
We're gonna get fined.
God,
Okay.
be cancelled.
All right. Let's move on. So I guess this was the second big bit of news that happened in our absence. Was that PlayStation revealed their game lineup for PS Plus, and I've got a link there if you want to follow it. It might be worth just opening up, just so you can
Yeah.
kind of have a look.
Ooh, yeah.
And amongst this, so they also so they revealed not all but most of their game collection coming to PS Plus, and they also announced that Ubisoft Plus was coming to PlayStation as well, and that Ubisoft Plus Classics, which is like presumably a older selection of Ubisoft games, will be bundled in with PlayStation Plus Extra, not to be confused with PlayStation Plus Deluxe, or PlayStation Plus Premium.
It's so confusing.
So that will be in PlayStation Plus Extra when that launches. Ubisoft Plus has already been confirmed to be coming to Xbox at some point. There's just no details on it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so general reactions that I read online were pretty good, actually. And you know what? I think this is pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised with this. As a lot of people have been saying for a while, they feel that PlayStation Plus Extra, which is like the middle tier, is the best value for your general gamer or your general
As we
core
predicted
user.
to.
Yeah, right. Whereas Premium comes with like the classics, and the selection isn't very big, and it's quite a bit more expensive. So,
But you get demos.
and demos, yeah, of course, and demos.
You get fucking demos.
So, and there wasn't even that many demos in that tier. There were demos for like 4 games. One of them was like Horizon. One of them was like Farming Simulator, and it's like, what?
As if you didn't know what that game would be like without a demo.
Oh, I need to try this out. You couldn't like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it turns out it's farming.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
yeah.
Thank God I had that demo.
Where's my guns?
Oh god.
So there was the PS4 and PS5 game catalog, which is for PS Plus Extra or above. Yeah, generally pretty good. I don't need to go through the whole list here, but there's some bigger ones.
Bloodborne, Cookie
Yeah, Days Gone, Demon Souls Remaster, Ghost of Tsushima, Director's Cut, God of War.
I was quite surprised when I saw Demon Souls on there. Actually, that's quite a good one.
Well, it was a launch title, right? So that was late 2020, so about 18 months old now. But yeah, that's probably the best, the best one.
And Miles Morales, that's pretty
launch title as well. Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty big. Last Guardian's kind of cool.
Some of their director's cuts are there as well, which are quite new, but obviously they're just director's cuts, like Ghost of Tsushima. Returnal is there too. Returnal's a newer one, so that's pretty good as well. But I mean, generally, yeah. I mean, you can hear us talking about it. Like the vibe is like pretty good. Like I think this is a pretty cool selection of first party games. The third party list isn't as strong as I thought it would be, though. Maybe they've got more to show, but it's a decent list. It's just not as big as I am used to with Games Pass, where the list is like endless.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's some okay ones in there. You got actually Valhalla, that's not bad.
Are you throwing shade at Ashen right now?
No, yeah, Ashen's great. We played Ashen.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game, but it's not like I don't know, it's not I guess I was looking out for AAA. I'm sorry, Ashen.
That's
Jesus.
okay. Like Celeste is there. Control, Guardians of the Galaxy, Hollow Knight, Outer Wilds, yeah, Red Dead 2. So
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
These are like generally good games. I can see what they were going for here. They've gone for like highly rated games into the service, rather than like a lot of variety. They're like, there's nothing there I wouldn't expect to see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very Sony like subscription.
It's weird that it's like The Division, but not The Division 2. Like, The Division?
Oh,
What?
really? Is the first one there?
Yeah, it just
That is
says The
weird.
Division.
Oh yeah,
It's
weird.
why not? The game is so old now. Why not The Division 2?
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
don't know.
weird.
Yeah.
Even The Division 2's fucking old. That's crazy.
Um, yeah, and I think that the list of classic games I think underwhelmed people a little bit, but they did, by the looks of it, did say that they were adding trophies for some of those classic games, which made a lot of, or it made a small segment of people who were very very happy. But good on them. Like this, one of those things that you definitely didn't have to do, but do it to just add value.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's the time limited game trials. Uncharted: The Legacy of Thieves collection, Horizon Forbidden West. That's it from PlayStation Studios, and then third party partners: Cyberpunk, Farming Simulator, Wonderland, and WWE 2K 2022.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, how are you feeling?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty decent. Like, again, I would be pretty happy with this list if I was purchasing the middle tier.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be like crazy over the moon, but like, I mean, it's pretty good, man. Like, imagine just buying like a PS5. Somehow the gods just, it
made one
work in your
spawn.
favor and you
Yeah,
manage to get one. Um, yeah, imagine just getting that, plugging it in. It didn't come with any games. It cost you like 600 quid, but it's just like bop. You just purchase this, and you just got all of these to choose from. You can do some Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima. You can play all of these at PS5 quality as well. Um, there's some great games in here, and yeah, there's lots to sink your teeth into.
yeah.
I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, it's good value overall. I think that's a good thing. So I think it's like not only a good start to the service. I think it's pretty strong. I think their biggest thing is the biggest thing that people are going to look at between the services. Obviously, Games Pass, other than like a few bits and bobs here, like PS3 streaming and kind of weak third, well, not so weak, but kind of small third party list. Is that first party studios are not they're not doing day and date ever. That that continues to be the biggest differentiator. And I suppose the thing I'm having a bit of a problem with is that there's just little bits of confusion here and there that just add up to me being unsure. Like when I think about the service, I'm like, what's going to be in it? Whereas I know if I think about Games Pass, I know what first party, I know all of Xbox's first party titles are going to be there. This isn't exhaustive
Mm.
for PlayStation. Like this is not all of their first party titles. Um,
No.
I understand that they're doing it some retroactively, but the fact that I can't have this ongoing and get the new stuff straight into it, I think, is going to like dissuade people from staying subscribed. I think over time, like because you're looking at this list, you're like, wow, I get all of these games, but like say in a year's time or 6 months time, when stuff isn't launching into it, I think that kind of does wear thin a bit. Whereas Xbox, despite nothing this year, has that thing of like it keeps getting topped up on a regular cadence with Xbox's stuff, which is obviously a
Yeah.
big deal on day one.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's nothing like this list is great, but it does just scream like I might just buy this for like 1-2 months, play the best games on here, and then just not subscribe again until it's worth my money or like a handful of new stuff has come in, which will be drip feeded in like a lot slower
Yeah,
um, in terms of first party studios than Games Pass. So
yeah,
yeah, no, I 100% agree. Big
yeah.
agree.
It's good, and I think like when we've been speaking about it, Spartacus for like however long we've been speaking about it for now. Like I've
Yeah.
always said that this something just like this works well for me. It means I can subscribe for a month. I can catch up on Ghost of Tsushima that I never played. I can catch up on maybe Uncharted, maybe Demon Souls. Right, these are games that I never played. But I think if you've already played those games, that decision of value is of question to you. But if this was the other way round, and I had already played a lot of these games, on Xbox, whatever the equivalent that value would start to wane unless I knew stuff was going to get injected in on day one very, very often. Very often, but when that happens. Yeah. But overall, looking good. I think this is good. This is definitely one of those positive impacts of competition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're actually on to our last story for the day.
Whoa.
I know.
What?
I know. And this, on one hand, really big story. On the other hand, really pointless. Really just useless. So for the first time in 8 years, Xbox outsold PlayStation in Japan last week.
Oh my god, PlayStation's dead.
Bury it now.
Clickbait it.
Yeah.
That's a short right there. That's a clickbaiting short right there.
Yeah. And this, like, the story is actually less interesting than the reactions here, because just to give you the numbers, dear listener, according to sales data published by Famitsu, the Xbox Series S on its own, not including the Series X, sold 6,120 units last week, whereas the PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition sold a combined 2,693 units. And obviously, shock shortages are still happening, but that's still pretty it's unknown whether that number is caused by a stock shortage or because Xbox is picking up a bit of steam. As we've said before, answer's usually in the middle. But like I said, that is like 1 week where I'm sure we'll be back to normal next week with PlayStation selling more in Japan again. But Tim, the reactions to this were just some people were like just not having any of it. Like there were even journalists who are like, I can't believe Xbox are running with this story, like, and then posting total numbers of like PlayStation versus Xbox. Like, thanks for highlighting that PlayStation is still outselling Xbox in Japan. Like, we really needed that explaining. Like, are you okay? Yeah. Everything okay at home?
Yeah, everyone knows that, and that will be a fact probably until the end of time.
Yeah,
PlayStation will always outsell overall in Japan. Like nobody's gaslighting fucking PlayStation. Chill out.
It's just so weird. It's just the fact that like a lot of like most of the industry and like most like people who play Xbox were like, oh, this is pretty cool. People who don't like Xbox. Yeah, people who don't like Xbox were like, no, actually, if you look at the numbers and you look at the trajectory of the last 5 years, you'll see that this actually can't possibly be true. These are either falsely reported numbers or the stock shortages. And it's like, calm down. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, what happened?
It's 1 month, bro.
It's not even. It's a week.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
It's a week.
The story is a week, was it? Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. People getting their panties in a twist for a week.
But it's like, why? Christ. It's like...
It's a big deal to a lot of people, man, like following this sort of stuff. I mean, we have a podcast for Xbox, dude, so I don't know what we're talking about. Like, it does take up a lot of people's time.
Well, yeah, but you won't catch me melting down when PlayStation outsells Xbox like this year. Or
you called me at like 4 a.m. when Starfield got cancelled, crying there.
Shut up, dude.
We should have bought PlayStation.
We should have done the PS Plus podcast.
Yeah. God, the PPP. The PPPP. PlayStation Plus podcast. No, it's just 3 Ps.
Yeah, just 3 Ps.
It's just 3 Ps. The premium.
Unless it's premium, yeah, that's right. PlayStation Plus Premium.
Yeah, podcast. We got like different tiers of podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the story. Like, everybody knows that this isn't indicative of like long-term sales. Everybody knows that PlayStation is going to be back to selling normal. Everybody knows there is a stock shortage that is affecting PlayStation more than Xbox. So when people are saying, "Oh, cool, look, this is cool," you don't need to have an aneurysm. Like we all know that. Like, so I guess we'll catch you next week because I bet these same people are gonna like say like when PlayStation sells more next week that they gonna be like, "Look, see, I told you so." Like,
it's like idiots.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, guess you can't hire bots every week. Hashtag PlayStation back on top.
You can't skew the numbers every week. Cheats. Yeah.
Oh, keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
God love them.
keyboard warriors, list warriors, never get tired.
Yeah.
Ah, well, with that, we've reached our fitting conclusion.
We have.
What is the date today? 22nd. So we've got next 29th. Is that right? 29th. Is it 2 weeks until the show? Is that it? No.
What, the Xbox Bethesda?
One, two,
That's
three.
13th of June.
12th of
So,
June.
no, it's 3 weeks. It'll be
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's
Are
fine.
we going to do anything for that? Or are we just going to like cover it afterwards? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
As in do like a live show.
Potentially.
Or like
yeah.
film it live.
Potential.
Maybe, yeah, I have thought about it. It just depends on like tech and stuff.
Yes.
Like I'll have wires going across, like for filming. Yeah, it's doable. We'll just have to see how it.
We'll talk about it off cam.
We'll talk about it off cam. Yeah. Sure. Like being part of logistics.
That'll be a very interesting show now. I think with Starfield and Redfall. We never discussed Redfall being delayed either.
Well, it's part of the same, like, you know.
Yeah, I guess, but yeah, Redfall obviously did get delayed too. We never like name dropped it specifically, but everyone's aware of it. But yeah, it'll be really interesting that show now. I think that both of those have been delayed because, like, as much as we're seeing gameplay and stuff like that, probably from both of them, right? No, yeah, probably from both of them. Is it like, will it hit the same? You know.
Just depends on the show.
I don't know.
It's literally
it kind of, but like I don't know. There's just that hype factor's just gone because it's like, oh, let's go Starfield gameplay. We're playing that in 3 months. It's just like Starfield gameplay. We're playing that in an undisclosed amount of time.
I don't know though. I don't think it's Redfield. Oh my god, I don't think Redfall really. I don't think Redfall really had that much hype behind it because it was like a lot of the like hardcore audience online were like, oh, they're making a Left 4 Dead clone. Because like to some people, anything with 4 players and guns is like a Left 4 Dead clone, even though it's like an open world immersive sim. So I think it's just a big question mark. Same with Starfield. And this is what I mean. I think it doubles down the pressure on what the show needs to show, like what needs to, like what looks good there. Like because you could like leak, like if someone leaked me the list of things ahead of time of what's going to be at the show, like that would be great. But if the stuff that isn't there isn't exciting, then I think that's going to be a real problem. Like people need to see gameplay and be excited for what's to come. You know, do you see what I mean? Like if
I do,
like they need to see what's exciting.
Yeah.
So
I think it'll be good to actually get. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing Redfall gameplay as much as Starfield personally, because like I feel like Redfall's getting a bad rap, and like I'm hoping the gameplay will change people's minds on that. Like if they can finally see what it is and like what it's going for, and then it's not just potentially a Left 4 Dead clone. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that game was always just kind of not what they were kind of hoping would come out of that studio, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah,
I think for a lot of people, and I don't know, it's just had a bad rap right from the get go. Even though like we both thought it was a kind of like a banger right from the get go, but it's just different styles of gaming, I guess, right?
Well, I think it's just that the vocal minority online that speaks just want to play third person action adventure fantasy games. Like that's it. That's it. That's their scope of taste.
Games.
Right, yeah, and so anything that and of course, like you said, because it wasn't expected from Arcane, people are just kind of waiting to see more. I think a lot of people want it to do well, but they want to have a reason to be excited. So yeah, like I said, it just depends what they show and if it looks good. As with everything, I think at the showcases, there's double pressure to really nail it this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, let's get on out of here then. Everyone, thanks for coming this week. We will hopefully be back next week and maybe with some good news. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
And have a good one. And we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Oh no.